impossible to him as deception, but even men of the possible noblest character are susceptible to the physical charms of others. Modern, no less than ancient history provides us with many painful examples of what I am referring to. If it were not so, history would be quite unreadable, would it not?
I beg your pardon, Gwendolen. Did you say Ernest?
Yes.
Oh, but it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother.
Oh, that is strange. Ernest never mentioned to me that he had a brother.
I'm sorry to say they've not been on good terms for a long time.
Ah, that accounts for it. And now that I think of it, I've not heard any man mention his brother. The subject seems distasteful to most men. Cecily, you have lifted a load from my mind. It would have been terrible if any cloud had come across a friendship like ours, would it not? Of course you are quite sure it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is your guardian.
Quite sure. In fact, I'm going to be his.
I beg your pardon?
Dearest Gwendolen, there is no reason why I should make a secret of it to you. Our little county newspaper is sure to chronicle the fact next week. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
Well, I think there must be some slight error, Miss Cardew. You see, Mr. Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement will appear in the Morning Post at Saturday at the latest.
I am afraid you must be under some misconception. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
Oh, it is very curious, for he proposed to me Saturday afternoon at 5:30. If you wish to verify the incident, pray do so. I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read on the train. I am so sorry if it is any disappointment to you, Miss Cardew, but it appears I have the prior claim.
It would distress me more than I can tell you, dearest Gwendolen, if it caused you any mental or physical anguish. But I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he clearly has changed his mind.
If the poor boy has entrapped himself into any foolish promise, I'll be sure to rescue him at once, and with a firm hand.
Whatever unfortunate entanglement my dear boy may have gotten into, I will never reproach him with it after we are married.
You allude to me as an entanglement, Miss Cardew. You are presumptuous. On an occasion of this kind, it becomes more than moral duty to speak one's mind. It becomes a pleasure.
Do you suggest, Miss Fairfax, that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you? This is no time for wearing the shallow mask of manners. When I see a fig, I call it a fig.
Oh, I have never seen a fig. It is clear our social spheres are widely different.
Shall I lay tea here as usual, miss?
Yes, as usual.
Are there any interesting walks in the vicinity, Miss Cardew?
Oh yes, a great many. From the top of one of the hills quite close, one can see 5 counties.
5 counties? I don't think I should like that. I hate crowds.
I suppose that is why you live in town.
Quite a well-kept garden this is, Miss Cardew.
So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I didn't know there were any flowers in the country.
Oh, flowers are as common here, Miss Fairfax, as people are in London.
Personally, I cannot understand how anybody manages to exist in the country. If anybody does, the country always bores me to death.
Ah, this is what they're calling the agricultural depression, is it not? May I offer you some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Thank you. Detestable girl, but I require tea.
Sugar?
No, thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore.
Cake or bread and butter?
Bread and butter. Cake is rarely seen in the best houses nowadays.
Hand that to Miss Fairfax.
Oh! You have filled my tea with lots of sugar and though I most distinctively asked for bread and butter, you have given me cake. I'm usually known for the sweetness of my disposition and the extraordinary gentlessness of my nature, but I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far.
To save my poor, innocent, trusting boy from the machinations of any other girl, there are no lengths to which I would not go.
From the moment I saw you, I distrusted you. I thought you false and deceitful. My first impressions of people are invariably right.
It seems to me, Miss Fairfax, that I am trespassing on your valuable time. No doubt you have many other calls of a similar character to make in the neighbourhood.
Ernest, my own Ernest!
Gwendolyn, darling.
Oh, a moment. May I ask if you're engaged to this young lady?
Little Cecily? Well, of course not. What could have put such an idea in your pretty little head?
Thank you, you may.
I knew there must have been some misunderstanding. The gentleman whose arm is at present round your waist is my guardian, Mr. John Worthing.
I beg your pardon.
This is Uncle Jack.
Jack! Oh!
Here is Ernest.
Ah, my own one!
A moment, Ernest. May I ask you, are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
Good heavens, Gwendolyn!
Yes, to good heavens, Gwendolyn. I mean, to Gwendolyn.
Of course not. What could have put such an idea into your head? Go ahead.
Thank you, you may.
Oh, I thought there was some slight error, Miss Cardew. The gentleman who is currently embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief! Oh! Is your name really Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
Oh, is your name really John?
I could deny it if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked. But, yes, my name certainly is John. It has been John for years.
It seems a gross deception has been practiced on the both of us.
My poor wounded Cecily.
My sweet, wronged Gwendolyn.
You will call me sister, won't you?
There is just one question I would like to be allowed to ask my guardian.
An admirable idea. Mr. Worthing, there is just one question we'd like to be permitted to put to you. Where is your brother Ernest at present? We are both engaged to him, so it is of some importance for us to know where he is at this time.
Gwendolyn, Cecily, it pains me very much to be forced to speak the truth. It's the first time I've ever been put in such a painful position, and I'm really quite inexperienced in anything of the kind. However, to speak quite frankly, I have no brother, Ernest. I have no brother at all. I've never had a brother, and I have no intention in the slightest of having a brother in the future.
No brother at all?
None.
Had you never a brother of any kind?
Never. Not even of any kind.
Well, I think it's quite clear, Cecily, that neither of us is engaged to anyone.
Yes. It is not a very pleasant position for a young girl to find herself in, is it?
Let us venture into the house. They will hardly follow after us there.
No. Men are so cowardly, aren't they?
This ghastly state of affairs is what you call bunburying, I suppose.
Oh, yes. The most wonderful Bunbury I've ever had. Absolutely perfect.
Well, you've no right whatsoever to Bunbury here.
It's absurd. One has a right to Bunbury anywhere one chooses. Every serious Bunburyist knows that.
Serious Bunburyist? Good heavens!
Oh, yes. I mean, one must be serious about something if one wants to have any amusement in life. I happen to be very serious about Bunburying. I don't know if you are serious.